come out of the school, but we did see several people jumping into, or several police officers, I should say, jumping into their cruisers and then taking off and leaving away from the school. Obviously, if you're looking here, you can still see that there are several police cruisers there, several ambulances as well that are there. So it does lead us to believe that things are still quite active here. But right now, we are trying to figure out where were those officers that decided to leave, and they took off, and they were moving at a pretty fast pace, what it looked like there on the road. So we're trying to figure that out.
We are just getting a statement from Governor Kemp, and I can read this to you. He says, I have directed all available state resources to respond to the incident at Apalachee High School and urge all Georgians to join my family in praying for the safety of those in our classrooms, both in Barrow County and across the state. We will continue to work with local, state, and federal partners as we gather information and further respond to this situation. That coming from Governor Kemp, who's just posted that onto the social media platform X. We also have gotten some information here that may be from someone at the school. Looking at our internal site here, Apalachee High School, AHS families. Apalachee High School is currently in a hard lockdown after reports of gunfire. Again, I'd love to get some information on exactly where that statement is from. I'm looking at it here.
And it appears,
that is unconfirmed, but that is one of the reports that we are hearing right now.
Yeah, and it originally it appears, and producers, can you guys let us know, because did this come from the high school? Because it appears that the high school was sharing this to parents and to families, saying, okay, please do not attempt to come to the school, but that has since changed in just the past 10 minutes or so, where they are allowing now students to be reunited with their families so parents can come to get their children and then take them from there.
We heard in the statement from Governor Kemp that federal partners are also involved, and we've been able to confirm that the FBI is on the scene. And so that would typically happen in a situation like this, where there is an incident at a large school, some type of violent incident of some kind. We don't know exactly what kind of incident this is, but we're working on that. We also have a number of crews on their way. We spoke with Adam Murphy, who was about 15 minutes or so from the high school when we spoke with him. That seems to be maybe about 10 or 15 minutes or so ago. So perhaps he is getting closer now and will soon be able to report some more information. But again, this is the entrance to the school that we saw law enforcement go into. Now it looks as though some of these first responders are coming out and leaving the school at this point.
And Rick, for people who are watching, and there may be parents who are saying, I can't get to my child right now, it is important to know that we are learning that buses are going to run for those students who need transportation to get home. So if your child happens to be there, and hopefully you've been able to be in contact with them, but the buses are going to run so that those kids will be able to get home.
We're taking a look at live pictures right now from the chopper as we are coming up on the noon hour here on this Wednesday morning, where there has been some type of violent incident that has taken place at one of our metro high schools, Apalachee High School in Winder in Barrow County. There is a large police presence. We have watched as someone has been airlifted from the scene. We've later learned that person was taken to Grady Memorial Hospital in Atlanta. We have seen hundreds of students and faculty members evacuated from the building and taken to a nearby football field where they are standing by. We know that parents are anxiously awaiting word on their children, wanting to reconnect with their children, and we are waiting for information that we can share with you on exactly how that is going to take place. But right now we're seeing first responders there with gurneys and preparing themselves perhaps for any more people who have been injured in all of this. But we have not really seen anybody brought out of the school. And so that is something that we're waiting to learn more about as far as how many people have been impacted by this, how many people have been wounded. We don't know. But there are, a lot of reports, a lot of rumors that are circulating right now on social media. We're staying away from reporting anything to you until we are able to confirm it with our trusted sources. And so right now, what we can tell you is just simply that there has been an incident at the school that has required a large police presence. And the governor has responded saying and encouraging all Georgians to please join his family in praying for the safety of those in the classrooms, both in Barrow County and across the state of Georgia. This is obviously something that is being monitored, not just in Barrow County, but in schools all over the state. This is we're just about a month or so into the start of a brand new school year, a year that so many people have high hopes for and wanting a fresh and clean start to a new, happy and productive school year. But sadly enough, at this particular school, things have not gotten off to a good start as we are watching and waiting for word on exactly what has taken place today at Apalachee High School, which is about an hour or so northwest of Atlanta. It's not far northeast of Atlanta, not far from Athens. And we have heard from members of the community that sirens have been streaming through for the last hour or so. But now it appears as though there is no new law enforcement arriving at the scene. We are just simply waiting for word on exactly what has gone down, how many people have been impacted by this, and what exactly happened. The football field that you can see on the left, where the Wildcats have a home game scheduled for this Friday night, is where students have been evacuated to. Students and staff members, hundreds of them standing by, obviously distressed, very, very upset at what has gone down and awaiting word like the rest of us for exactly what has happened. We have a number of crews on their way to get you information that we can report to you, that we can confirm. We are working to do that right now. As we take a look at this school, beautiful campus in Barrow County, about 1,900 students. We are going to pause for a moment and restart our coverage at the top of the hour as we follow this breaking news out of Winder in Barrow County, Georgia, right here in Metro Atlanta.
Atlanta News First starts now with breaking news.
And we are following breaking news right now in Barrow County, where a heavy police presence is at Apalachee High School in Winder.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon to you all. It has just been a chaotic afternoon, certainly for parents who are still not quite sure what's going on there. But we have viewer video just into the Atlanta News First newsroom. We want to show you exactly what it's looking like right now at the scene. Very heavy police presence. This is a live look from the First Alert chopper, and you can see there are numerous first responder personnel vehicles on scene. We can tell you we've been live at the scene for quite some time now, and there is a steady stream of presumably parents who are either there or headed to the school right now. There are no confirmed reports of what has happened. We want to be very clear about that because there are a lot of unconfirmed reports. The rumor mill is going on social media right now, and no law enforcement personnel has confirmed what exactly has happened. We do know someone has been airlifted away from the school to Grady Memorial Hospital. We do know there are first responders on scene that have been checking out certain people who are there, perhaps students, perhaps teachers. Again, it is unconfirmed at this point. We're just telling you what we have seen from First Alert Chopper and what we've been showing you. If you'd like to continue watching along with us, a lot of people still trying to make some sense of what's going on right now, but it's certainly a very serious, very chaotic scene right now, Rick.
And Lana, we've been paying very close attention to the body language of the first responders on the scene.
Yeah.
At one point, about 25, 30 minutes or so ago, we saw a group of law enforcement, heavily armed, walking in formation, making their way to the front entrance of the building. We have not learned what exactly they were entering that building for, what they were doing. We also have not seen them, at least not obviously to our ability to see, have not seen them exit the building right now. All we've been able to see is one person airlifted away, another person who looked like he or she had been wounded and was off to the side. And then we have the scene from the high school football field where the students have been evacuated to, students and faculty brought over there in a scene that we have seen play out in high schools and schools around the country. And now it's happening here, right here in Metro Atlanta, where there has been some type of violent incident at Appalachia High School in Barrow County, in Winder. About 1,900 students on this campus on a Wednesday morning, and something disrupted their school day in a big way, and we are still waiting to confirm exactly what.
Good afternoon, I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News. You've been watching our sister station coverage out of the Atlanta, Georgia area. The Atlanta News First, they're actually a sister station of ours. So we wanted to make sure that we're very clear. This is not a school shooting in the Cleveland area. This is, in fact, in the Atlanta metro area. It's actually about 40 miles northeast of downtown Atlanta. It's the Appalachia High School. We have seen, as you've been hearing from our anchors down in Atlanta, at least one helicopter was loaded with a stretcher and airlifted someone out of this high school. The fact that we're seeing the students sort of gathering on the football field sort of tells us that at least the immediate danger is not there. They wouldn't have students out there in the open if this was still an active shooter situation. So we're not calling it an active shooter situation, but still you can see numerous authorities and investigators there. The fact that you don't see anyone running in and out of the high school is a symbol that this may be over. Let's listen in to one of our reporters down there again at the Atlanta, Georgia area, ANF.
To gather their children.
Hi there, Rick. I just arrived a few minutes ago, and it's a very active and intense scene right now. I mean, I've never seen so many law enforcement vehicles. I mean, we have rescue units here from Hall County, officers from Gwinnett County, State Patrol, and so on. And there are so many law enforcement vehicles surrounding the front of the school. That's where we are right now. You can see Appalachia High School there in the distance and all the blue lights surrounding the building. We have noticed some parents, or what appear to be parents, administrators, kind of rushing around, trying to find, their family members. Look at this right here. We have Georgia State Patrol coming out. And you can just see from the intensity of those two law enforcement officers leaving the scene that this is still very active, and we don't know, what's going on right now because we just got here. We don't know if they're still actively looking for perhaps a gunman or someone that may have caused, harm at this school. But I can tell you, I've seen a lot of parents that seem to be running up to try to find their children. We haven't had a chance to speak with any of them yet. We pulled up, and like I said, we've kind of anchored down here, and we're trying to gather more information. But again, I did spot 2 ambulances rushing away from the scene within the last 5 minutes. So again, very active. The investigation is going on. We have an aerial view or picture here for you as well from above. And this will give you a sense of how many law enforcement vehicles are here. And then, of course, the students that have been escorted back to the stadium area. They've been removed from the building and taken back to a safe spot there, as you guys have talked about, back on the back of the property there where the football stadium is. And again, back out here front now at the front of the school. One more look at all of the law enforcement vehicles. I want to take you to the right here real quick, and you'll see, as far as the eye can see, really all the blue lights lined up. Some people running up here to the scene. I don't know yet at this point if these are parents, but an emotional scene, a very scary situation outside Appalachia High School in Barrow County. We're going to try to gather more details for you, and as soon as we get some new information, we'll share that with you guys. All right, Adam.
Again, Dan DeRose with Channel 19 here in Cleveland. You're watching our live coverage from our sister station in the Atlanta area. This is ANF's coverage, Atlanta News First. They're actually owned by our parent company, Gray Media, so we're just dipping into their coverage. If you're watching this on our social media platforms, we don't want you to be concerned for the fact that this might be a shooting in Northeast Ohio. This is, in fact, in Barrow County. That's about 40 miles northeast of Atlanta, but it is appears to be some sort of shooting at a high school in that area, the Appalachia High School in Barrow County. And as you can see, parents trying to find students, but the fact that we're seeing different angles, we've seen students gathered on a football field from the aerial coverage from our Atlanta station. You're also seeing first responders sort of gathering at the front. They're not in tactical positions. That's one thing I always look for as a journalist, and even you as a viewer, when you see these situations, do you see officers running around? Do you see them taking cover behind vehicles, at different stations around the school? We're not seeing that at all. The fact that the kids are just gathered on the football field indicates that whatever happened at this high school is the danger, the threat level is over, because you wouldn't have kids just standing out in an open area if this was an active situation. So what we're going to do here is we're going to leave you with the coverage from our sister station in Atlanta. But again, you're watching Cleveland 19's continuing coverage of some sort of school, possibly shooting situation. One individual taken away on a stretcher in a medevac helicopter. We've seen a number of other ambulances with stretchers. You can see quite a few of them parked in front of the school, in back of the school. So we'll leave you now with our live coverage from our Atlanta station.
We have not yet confirmed where those victims have been taken, but again, CNN is reporting that a local hospital in Winder is receiving patients with gunshot wounds. And as you and Rick just mentioned, one person was also airlifted away from this scene. So certainly a tragic day for this community here. And there are certainly a lot of parents who are hoping that their babies are not one of those victims. So from where you are, Adam, can you tell us, does it seem like parents are able to get to a certain place? I know the school is quite large, so you're certainly not able to say where all they may be stationed right now, but what's going on near you? Are they allowing parents to station over there? Do you see any students? Just kind of fill us in from what you're seeing from the ground there.
Yeah, well, you're seeing an ambulance pull off right now that just came up here. It looks like it's trying to gain access to the front of the school, so there could be more people that are going to be transported, or students or faculty or staff, we don't know, but it's entering on the side of the building there. We just saw this ambulance pull up. Now, you're also looking at a lot of what appear to be, parents that are trying to arrive here. They're kind of being taken over to the side of the school, the left side. If you're looking at the front of the school, the left side of the school. But there are also several that were parked about a block away. So we have is this a medic chopper? Let me give you a live picture here, guys. We have a medic chopper that is making its way into the campus. This is a live picture right now. Now, this would indicate that they're going to airlift one or more individuals and rush them to perhaps Grady. I know that's a trauma center, and that's where they tend to take a lot of trauma patients. So this is a live look, as you see, a medic chopper coming in right now. It's going to land somewhere in the parking lot. There's not a lot of room out here, I'll tell you that, with as many law enforcement officers on scene.
Well, we did
but it will land here. Yeah.
We did see another airback chopper that looked exactly like this one land on that patch of grass right by the flagpole in the center of the parking lot, right in front of the front entrance to the school. Land right there, and it looks like this one is landing in the same spot. So we'll keep our eye
you're
on
right,
these,
Rick. That's exactly
on these live pictures here, and this does indicate, of course, that there are more victims, patients who are serious enough not to be taken to the hospitals
Right.
that we've been hearing about who have been receiving patients with gunshot wounds, but instead to be flown to Grady Memorial Hospital, where there is the level 1 trauma care that's available, the more serious care that is available there at Grady.
Well, we also have a statement from the governor. He has weighed in on this afternoon, and he has said, and this is a direct quote from Governor Brian Kemp, "I have directed all available state resources to respond to the incident at Appalachian High School and urge all Georgians to join my family in praying for the safety of those in our classrooms, both in Barrow County and across the state. We will continue to work with local, state, and federal partners as we gather information and further respond to this situation." Now, the FBI Atlanta is also on top of this case as well. They have also released a statement saying, and I quote, "FBI Atlanta is aware of the current situation at Appalachian High School. Our agents are on scene coordinating with and supporting local law enforcement. And we have seen law enforcement in droves show up to the scene. They've been leaving the scene, presumably taking victims, as we now know, who have been headed to area hospitals. We now know a lot of the students, everybody who presumably is not injured right now, is there in the stadium to the left of your screen. They have been evacuated to that area. And as for now, a lot of parents are just waiting to see when they will be able to be on campus and reunite with their kids.
You know, one thing we have been staying away from is sort of classifying what type of incident this was.
Right.
We can now safely say that this has been a shooting.
Yes.
A school shooting at Appalachian High School. Right here in Metro Atlanta in Barrow County. Again, there is a suspect in custody. The statement from the Barrow County Sheriff's Department telling us that there is someone in custody. We don't know if they're looking for any more suspects at this time. There's also confirmation that casualties have been reported, but we don't know the number of people who have been injured, nor do we know the severity of those injuries, although we have to assume that at least a couple of them are seriously injured enough that they are being transported to Grady Memorial Hospital, air vac there. Others, we've been told, have been taken to local hospitals. And now we see some live pictures of law enforcement, again, walking towards the front entrance of the building. And they do not appear to be in a type of active posture where, you know, there is some type of an active situation.
Right, where they're rushing.
You can see the FBI agents as well. There is not a lot of urgency in the way that they're moving and walking. So we don't want to assume anything, but it's just an observation as we take a look at these live pictures from the First Alert chopper over the scene that we've been now watching for the better part of the last hour or so. And you can see there the first responders with their gear. We have Adam Murphy on the scene and some other reporters as well who are arriving there. We're trying to gather as much information as we can to bring you the very latest on a situation that has unfolded this morning in Barrow County, a shooting at Appalachian High School where there are casualties and there is one person in custody.
You mentioned other reporters. Chelsea Bimeford is on the way as we speak. She just got there to the area, but says that she's on a 1-mile walk to the school. So that may give an idea of how far off law enforcement have barricaded that access into the school as they are still trying to make sense of this very active scene. And if you are just now joining us at 12:15, this is breaking news we're staying on top of. This is a live look in Barrow County. This is Appalachian High School in Winder, where there has been a shooting. There have been victims transported to area hospitals with gunshot wounds. We've confirmed as far as reporting from CNN goes, and we have seen one victim airlifted to the hospital. We have watched the helicopter return, presumably to gather more victims who may also need an airlift as well, Rick.
And we've seen the scene at the football stadium just next door to the school where students and faculty have been evacuated and brought to sort of be in a holding area while this situation played out. You could still see literally hundreds of students who were still there on the scene. This is a school that has about 1,900 students. So it's a fairly large school, and you can only imagine the kind of stress that everyone there is under right now as we await more information on exactly how many people have been injured and to what degree. Also, who is this suspect? Is this someone who was known to the school? Is this
Right.
someone who was a student at the school or a former student at the school? We don't know any of that information right now, other than the fact that there is one person in custody, and that's according to the Barrow County Sheriff.
Now, I was looking around on social media just to get a better sense of what people who are familiar with this situation are seeing, as far as people who have students there, who have kids there, and it seems that they're just very worried. A lot of posts from parents who are very concerned, saying we haven't been able to get to our kids yet, we haven't been able to get near the school yet. Just a lot of confusion in those first early moments when, there wasn't a lot confirmed. But so far, we have been able to confirm. We do know that there has been a shooting at this school. There are multiple victims, and it is still an active enough situation that it does not appear that parents are being let onto the campus right now. So we have multiple reporters either there or headed to the scene. You've heard from Adam Murphy. You have heard from Chelsea Beimfohr via us. We've showed you what she is dealing with as she makes her way to the school. She's about a mile away from the school where she was able to park and try to get close enough to give us a report. She wants to give us an eye view of what's going on because, as you can see, the campus is quite large. So as parents are showing up to find their children during this horrific incident, they don't really know where to go. We saw a long line of cars just stopped and waiting. At that point, law enforcement had barricaded the area off and appeared to only be letting other law enforcement vehicles in, and all the other cars were forced to stop and stay there and just hope that their kids are not one of these victims.
A lot of those parents that you mentioned, Lana, have walked past our Adam Murphy, who is on the scene, on the ground, just in front of the main entrance, the main entryway to the school. Adam, I wonder if you've been able to gather any more information.
Well, there's another ambulance just now arriving, pulling over on the left side. Parents, you may see over here in the open grass area, the front grass in front of the school, there are a lot of parents that have been told to make their way back towards the football stadium. As we've reported, that seems to be where students were taken as they were removed from the school when the active shooting incident was first reported. We have hundreds of law enforcement vehicles here. I also, last live shot that we did, an update we did for you, we were live showing one of the chopper medic units that was flying in. This is the second time we've seen a medic unit from a chopper that has come to the school. It's actually grounded right over there in a grassy area in front of the school near the American and state flag, the flagpole there. We have not seen anyone bring any potential patients out yet and load them into the chopper, the medic unit, but we're keeping our eyes on that as well. We did have a state patrol trooper come through here and say, if you're just arriving, meet at the football stadium. So I presume that information was directed towards any parents that may be arriving to check on their children. That's happening at this hour as well. But a very involved, chaotic scene. Several law enforcement agencies are here. We talked about State Patrol, City of Monroe, Barrow County, Gwinnett County, GBI, all of them here. Every one of them is here conducting their investigation into what occurred here at this school earlier this morning. Again, what I can tell you is I have seen at least 6 ambulances arrive since I've been here in the last 30 minutes. And I've seen 3 or 4 of them leave the scene in a hurry with their lights and sirens on, presumably going to a local or area hospital. It would indicate that there could be multiple injuries here.
All right, and that's Adam Murphy reporting.
Any student or parent or faculty member to have to encounter, and we don't know at this point the magnitude of this situation. Here is another Jackson County Emergency Services ambulance, does not have its lights and sirens on, but headed into the front area of the school. They've just been coming and going and coming and going. So as soon as we can gather more information about the extent and number of injuries, certainly we will share that with you. But a lot of frantic parents continue to arrive here at Appalachia High School in Barrow County after a very sad and tragic day here at the school.
We have gotten a statement from the GBI. You mentioned that you've seen Georgia Bureau of Investigation officers there on the scene. GBI issuing a statement saying the GBI has responded to a shooting at Appalachia High School in Barrow County. We have agents on site assisting local, state, and federal law enforcement with the ongoing investigation. One suspect is in custody. We urge anyone near the area to stay clear while authorities investigate. And to the point that Adam was making about the magnitude and the fact that we don't know, it's a sad reality that I have covered. I'm sure you have as well.
Yeah.
Many of these types of situations, these shootings that take place in public spaces like schools, and very often the initial reports that come out end up not being the full truth.
Right.
And so as these details come out, and as you may find information on social media, just know that it's going to take some time to sort out the facts. We're going to do that here. We're not going to report any rumors or anything else until we've been able to confirm it with our trusted sources. And so it's going to take a little while, though, as Adam said, to learn the magnitude of exactly what has gone down there, how many people have been impacted and involved and injured and wounded. We can report, though, because this is the statement we're getting, that one person is in custody.
And we can also report that there are multiple victims, just in the sense that we were told that multiple people had been taken to area hospitals with gunshot wounds, and you watched along with us as with First Alert Chopper as someone was airlifted to Grady Memorial Hospital. So certainly a horrible situation here, and it may seem calm outside of the school right now, but we assure you this is a very active situation right now. People are still being urged to stay away from this scene. Certainly parents are headed there as we speak, hoping that their children are not one of these victims. Of course, it may take some time to identify whoever is arriving to the hospital, of course, so parents are finding out along with us. We are live on air watching this happen with you. It's a terrible situation. We're trying to be as clear and concise and truthful as we can. That's why we're trying to stay with the facts, as Rick said, because there are a lot of things circulating on social media right now. Not always the best to believe that. So again, we want to tell you we are giving you a live look in Barrow County. This is Appalachia High School, where there is a heavy police presence after some sort of a shooting. We cannot tell you how bad the shooting is just yet, how many victims there is just yet, but we are saying on top of that, we are actively monitoring for updates as the show goes on. And we can tell you that FBI Atlanta is on scene, GBI is on scene. Our governor has weighed in on this. He said resources are all headed over to this scene. We have students still evacuated there at the stadium. We have First Alert Chopper still giving us shots overhead so you can see what's going on. And we have Adam Murphy there on scene. We have Chelsea Beimfohr, who's just arriving. She'll be gathering information. She'll be giving us a live report from a different vantage point, hopefully give us some new information about what she's seeing. And it seems as if all the students are there kind of at the front, or we're watching someone on a stretcher being carried out. Gosh, this is just so heartbreaking. You hope for there to be minimal impacts to life here, and to see someone carried away on a stretcher from a school is just, it's heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking. That person being loaded into an ambulance. We've gotten reports that gunshot wound victims have been taken to local hospitals. Piedmont Regional Hospital in Athens, we believe, is the hospital that's receiving these patients. There are other hospitals as well that may be receiving patients. We have seen a steady stream now of parents who had driven to the school, who have gotten out of their vehicles, parked their cars along the highway, and have walked towards the building to try to connect with their children.
Right.
And all of those students and faculty members have been taken to that football field area where now we are seeing one person taken away on a gurney, moved away from that location and put into the back of an ambulance. That looked like an empty gurney there, thankfully. But again, Governor Kemp asking everyone to pray for the community at Appalachia High School, and I think the entire state of Georgia is doing that right now as we await to learn exactly what has gone down at the school this morning, where one person is now in custody, going to be accused of committing a horrible act with a firearm. Yet again, a school shooting that unfortunately we have seen play out around the country. And this morning, it happened right here in Metro Atlanta.
And we have to remember, these are children. These are, gosh, some of them just got out of middle school. These are 9th to 12th graders who are now dealing with something that is going to stick with them for the rest of their lives. This happened at approximately 10:23 a.m. So the school day would have just gotten going a couple hours before, going as usual, and all of a sudden gunshots are ringing out and their classmates potentially are getting hit. We are still waiting to confirm who the victims are. Were they students? Were they teachers? Were they staff? There are a lot of unconfirmed details right now, a lot of questions swirling as anxious parents are showing up to the scene trying to figure out, can they get their children right now? So we are staying on top of this. Again, we want to give you a scene setter, just showing you the scope of the school and who all is on scene. We know Barrow County Sheriff's Department is on scene, the GBI, the FBI, certainly the police department is on scene. A lot of law enforcement personnel, of course, first responders, emergency vehicles on scene as people are both in and inside of the school investigating.
You can see the law enforcement, some of the officers that Lanham's referring to right there. We know that that families of parents have been forced to pull over, some of them about a mile or so from the campus. And they are getting out of their vehicles and walking that distance. Must feel like the longest walk in the world, that 1 mile stretch to get to the campus, to be reunited with your child. But that is what a lot of parents are experiencing this morning in Barrow County. Adam Murphy is on the scene, and I know, Adam, you've watched a number of these parents because they've walked right by you.
Yeah, that's the tough thing about this. It's an emotional thing for everyone. And then, trying to gather the information when we don't have things confirmed, we have to be very careful with our reporting. What I can tell you is what I see. Okay, yet another ambulance, this one from Walton County, that has just pulled up to the front of the school. And this marks probably 6 to 8 ambulances that I have seen in the last 30 minutes that have come and gone from the school. So that would indicate multiple injuries here. We have hundreds of law enforcement vehicles. We have the helicopter, the MEDEVAC unit that is up there as well that landed in front of the school a short time ago, still here. And like I said, I'm hearing a lot of different information from different people. So we have to sort through that and be very careful. I mean, we know there is one gunman we've reported that's in custody. What we don't know is if there were more than one involved in the shooting that happened earlier today here at Appalachia High School in Barrow County. I'm hearing a lot of different things from different people, parents. We want to make sure we get that information confirmed before we begin to report things that aren't accurate. What I can tell you as well is that there is a news briefing that is going to take place very soon. Law enforcement is going to hopefully give us some details and some particulars